Imagine ruling the greatest empire on earth, armies, gold, influence, all under your command. Yet every night the Emperor Marcus Aurelius opened his journal and wrote, "Wealth is neither good nor bad, only our use of it." In a world that bowed to money and power, he reminded himself to stay free from both. 2,000 years later, we're not emperors, but money still rules our decisions, our moods, our self-worth. We chase numbers, we compare. We fear losing what we have, forgetting that the richest life begins in a calm mind. What if the secret to lasting wealth isn't found in markets or hustle culture, but in mastering yourself first? This is the Stoic path to wealth, one that builds fortune without costing your soul. Calm, deliberate, free. Act 1, the problem. We all feel money. It's the quiet ghost in every room. It shapes the jobs we take, the risks we fear, the hours we trade away. And yet we rarely stop to ask a simple question: who's in control, use or our money? Imagine this. It's midnight. You open your banking app. You hesitate. Then you close it again. Your chest tightens and a whisper creeps in, you are behind. Behind what? Behind whom? We've built an entire civilization on the illusion of more. More income, more followers, more square footage. But more is a moving target, and the more we chase it, the less peace we feel. A study by the American Psychological Association found that 72% of adults feel stressed about money at least once a month. Even among those earning six figures or more, over half believe they're still not doing enough. It's a quiet epidemic, the constant hum of financial anxiety beneath modern life. Seneca once wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." 2,000 years ago, he named the same disease we suffer from today: insatiable comparison. Money anxiety wears many disguises. It's the unopened bank statement, the sleepless night after a market drop, the quiet shame of wanting more when you already have enough. But Stoicism doesn't deny money, it demotes it. Marcus Aurelius, emperor of Rome, ruler of the richest empire on earth, reminded himself daily, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. To the Stoics, wealth was what they called a preferred, indifferent, something good to have, but not essential to a good life. Money, they said, is like a tool, valuable only when it serves your purpose, not when it defines it. Now pause for a moment. Close your eyes. Think about your last financial decision. Did it move you closer to peace or further from it? We think money buys control, but often it buys dependence. We think money buys freedom, but often it buys distraction. As Epictetus warned, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. The same truth echoed across centuries. Here's the paradox. When you stop letting money control your emotions, you actually make better financial decisions. When you detach, you become rational. And when you're rational, you grow wealth slowly, sustainably, calmly. Modern finance has a name for this: behavioral alpha, the extra return you earn not from timing the market, but from managing your behavior. According to a Vanguard study, investors who stayed calm and avoided emotional decisions earned on average 1.5% more per year than those who panicked. 1.5% doesn't sound like much until you compound it. Over 30 years, that's a 56% difference in total wealth. In other words, calmness compounds. Stoicism gives us the mental architecture for that calm, a philosophy older than Wall Street, but more relevant than ever. Picture this: two circles. In the left circle, what you can control. In the right, what you cannot. In the left circle, your skill, your savings rate, your spending choices, your investment discipline. In the right, market noise, the economy, social media flexes the Joneses and their new Tesla. Most people live in the right circle. They scroll, they react, they fear, they envy. Stoics live in the left. They act, they plan, they reflect, they rest. Exercise 1. The circle audit. Draw two circles on a page. Label one control, the other not control. Write down 3 things in each, all related to money. Then for 7 days, double down only on the left circle. You'll be amazed at the peace that follows. Because peace, like wealth, grows from where you place your energy. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." So let's translate that for money. You have power over your decisions, not market outcomes. Realize this and you will build wealth. This isn't about blind optimism. It's about rational detachment. You control the process, not the prediction. And process over time creates results. Think about Warren Buffett, arguably the world's most stoic billionaire. He said the stock market is a device for transferring money from the impatient to the patient. Replace stock market with life and you get a timeless truth. The universe rewards patience, discipline, and emotional balance. That's why Stoicism isn't anti-money. It's pro-mastery. The Stoic investor still earns, saves, and builds wealth, but without surrendering their peace. Modern behavioral researchers have found that investors who check their portfolios less frequently experience 23% less stress and make 30% fewer impulsive trades. In Stoic terms, that's apatheia, freedom from destructive passion. Exercise 2, the 7-day money fast. For 1 week, check your investment accounts only once. Same time, same day. Use the time you save to learn one new financial concept or meditate for 10 minutes. At the end of the week, record your emotions. Notice the difference: less anxiety, more focus, more control. What you'll discover isn't just financial growth. It's mental margin, the space between reaction and reason. Because here's the truth. Money management is self-management, and self-management is where Stoicism begins. The modern world sells urgency, constant alerts, endless upgrades, perpetual scarcity. Stoicism sells clarity. The world says you need more. Stoicism says you already have enough. That shift from craving to contentment is the foundation of calm wealth. As we move into Act 2, we'll explore 6 Stoic wealth principles, practical, timeless tools you can apply today, each one rooted in ancient wisdom and confirmed by modern data. But before we go, remember this: your bank balance is not your worth. Your spending does not reflect your success. Your calmness is your capital. Marcus Aurelius closed one of his journals with a reminder that fits every age. Wealth is the slave of a wise man, the master of a fool. So ask yourself, which role will you play? Act 2. The 6 Stoic wealth principles. They say wealth is built in the mind long before it shows up in your bank account. The Stoics understood this deeply, not through theory, but through practice. They lived through wars, plagues, betrayal, and loss, yet remained calm, generous, and disciplined. Their secret wasn't luck. It was principle. Today, we'll explore 6 timeless Stoic principles that can guide your path to calm prosperity, a roadmap for building wealth without losing peace in a chaotic world. Principle 1. The dichotomy of control. Focus is your fortune. Epictetus once said, "Some things are in our control and some are not." That single line has saved more wealth and more sanity than any financial advice ever written. Modern life bombards us with financial noise. Notifications, market crashes, breaking news, influencers shouting, "Buy this coin." But beneath all the noise, you truly control only 4 things: your ability to earn, your spending habits, your investment behavior, and your emotional reactions. Everything else, interest rates, inflation, politics, the economy, is beyond your reach. In 2020, when markets crashed nearly 30%, panic swept the world. Some investors sold everything in fear. But those who stayed calm, who controlled what they could, recovered their losses within 6 months. The ones who sold early, many lost over 40% and never got back in. Control what you can. Let go of what you can't. Every decision made outside your control steals peace without paying interest. So here's your practice. Draw 2 columns, one for what's in your control, one for what's not. Look at it every day. It's not just financial planning, it's mental hygiene. Principle 2, negative visualization, prepare, don't panic. Seneca wrote, "He robs present ills of their power who has perceived their coming beforehand." The Stoics believed that by imagining the worst, you disarm its fear. They called it premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of adversity. In modern terms, this is risk rehearsal. Imagine losing your job tomorrow. What would you do if you've saved 6 months of expenses? You'd be inconvenienced, not destroyed. If your assets are diversified, one market falling won't end your plans. Fidelity found that 58% of investors without emergency funds panic sold during downturns. Among those with savings cushions, only 17% did. That's not coincidence, that's emotional margin. Preparation transforms fear into strategy. Try this once a quarter, do a Stoic fire drill. Write down your worst-case scenario: job loss, illness. economic crash, and your exact plan of response. You'll find calm, not anxiety, because you've already met the storm in your mind. Marcus Aurelius used the same practice to rule Rome with composure. You can use it to rule your own household with peace. Principle 3, temperance versus lifestyle creep spin. Intentionally, when most people get raises, their lifestyle expands to match. New car, new clothes, new phone, and somehow the peace never grows with it. But the Stoics saw desire as a form of debt. Marcus wrote, "A man's true wealth is the good he does in the world. True abundance isn't about accumulation, it's about alignment." Research from the University of Chicago shows that after about $75,000 a year, happiness barely increases with income. And yet lifestyle creep, that subtle urge to upgrade everything, keeps people stuck no matter how much they earn. So here's a Stoic twist on the 50-30-20 rule. When you get a raise, allocate 50% to investing, 30% to long-term goals, and 20% to conscious enjoyment. This isn't about restriction, it's about intention. You'll find joy not in what you buy, but in knowing why you buy it. Temperance isn't deprivation, it's discipline. It's the quiet power of saying, enough is enough. Principle 4, purpose over status. Aim before you accumulate. Marcus Aurelius never wrote about money, he wrote about meaning. He said, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. When money serves ego, it becomes anxiety. When it serves purpose, it becomes power. A Stoic doesn't chase wealth to impress. They build it to express their values, their freedom, their service to others. Ask yourself honestly, why do I want wealth? Is it for security? For contribution? To buy time with loved ones? Write your answer in one clear sentence, your money purpose statement. For example, I use money to buy time, support my family, and do meaningful work. Every major investor has a version of this. Billionaire Ray Dalio once said his goal isn't money, but meaningful work and meaningful relationships. When your why is clear, your how becomes peaceful. Purpose filters out the noise and reminds you what truly matters. Before every big financial decision, read your statement. It will quiet your impulses and guide your actions. Because purpose transforms wealth from chaos into clarity. Principle 5. Compounding as character, small habits, huge results. Albert Einstein called compound interest the eighth wonder of the world. But the Stoics knew something deeper, that compound behavior is even more powerful. Marcus wrote daily. Seneca reflected weekly. Epictetus practiced daily self-discipline. They compounded character, and that character created legacy. Financially compounding small habits leads to huge results. Saving just $10 a day at 8% annual growth becomes over $150,000 in 30 years. But even more valuable is the habit of calm consistency that creates it. So practice what I call the daily 5. Avoid impulse buys today. Invest automatically, no matter the market mood. Learn one skill for 30 minutes. Move your body. Physical clarity fuels mental clarity. Journal 1. Stoic question. Did my decisions match my principles today? Do this for 30 days. You'll watch your confidence compound faster than your portfolio. Because the calm, consistent person always wins in markets and in life. Principle 6. Money as a tool. Not a throne. Audit your alignment. Marcus Aurelius commanded armies, ruled an empire, and controlled immense wealth. Yet he still saw himself as a student. He wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." Money, when worshipped, becomes a throne, one that enslaves. But when viewed as a tool, it builds. Every quarter, do what I call a Stoic audit. Ask yourself 2 simple questions. What did money make me do that I'm not proud of? And what did I refuse to do because it violated my principles? Write the answers down. That's your moral balance sheet, the only one that truly defines your legacy. Once every 3 months, review your spending beside your values. Does your budget reflect your beliefs? If not, adjust, not out of guilt, but growth. Because money doesn't change who you are. It simply amplifies it. Money reveals character, it never creates it. Seneca once said, wealth is the slave of a wise man, the master of a fool. Each of these 6 principles isn't about getting rich, it's about getting real. When you think, plan, and act with Stoic discipline, your finances begin to mirror your peace. You stop chasing wealth and start becoming the kind of person who naturally attracts it. In the next act, we'll build your Stoic money system, the practical blueprint for applying these principles every day, from how you structure your cash, to how you invest, to how you live. But for now, remember this: true wealth isn't the number in your account. It's the silence in your mind when you realize you finally have enough. Act 3, the Stoic money system. Philosophy without practice is just decoration. Marcus Aurelius didn't write to sound wise, he wrote to stay awake. Because Stoicism only works when it's lived. And money, perhaps more than anything else, is one of its sharpest testing grounds. We've learned the principles. Now it's time to turn them into a system, a way of structuring your financial life, so that discipline becomes automatic and peace becomes your default setting. This isn't about getting rich quickly. It's about building calmly, consistently, and consciously so your life feels lighter even as your wealth grows deeper. Every day, millions of people chase the next big thing, the hot stock, the new crypto, the real estate trend everyone's whispering about. But the Stoic investor starts somewhere else entirely, with principles. Epictetus said, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. Before you decide where to invest, decide what kind of investor you want to be. Ask yourself quietly, will I prioritize low cost or hype? Will I choose time in the market or timing the market? Will I trust discipline or dopamine? In 2023, a Morningstar study found that investors who chose simple index funds over flashy active picks saved on average 1% in annual fees, which compounded into 27% more wealth over 30 years. Less reaction, more reflection. That's Stoicism in action. So write down your 3 financial principles, the ones that anchor you. Maybe it's simplicity beats complexity. Long-term always wins. Success means consistency, not excitement. Keep them somewhere you can see them. Because when the market starts shouting, your principles are what keep you silent and steady. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." In money, that truth becomes even simpler. The calmness of your mind depends upon your liquidity. Cash is not laziness, it's clarity. A bank rate study showed that nearly 60% of Americans couldn't cover a $1,000 emergency. That is just a financial problem, it's a psychological prison. When you have no safety net, every choice is ruled by fear. But when you have one, your decisions shift from survival to strategy. A Stoic's cash system is built for calm and emergency fund, covering 6 months of essential expenses. A few sinking funds for future costs, travel, gifts, repairs, and a joy fund, a small portion of income set aside for guilt-free enjoyment. Because Stoicism isn't about deprivation, it's about intention. You don't enjoy less, you enjoy on purpose. Automate these accounts so that peace happens quietly in the background. You'll feel your anxiety shrinking faster than your debt ever could. The Stoics called money a preferred indifferent, something good to have, but never good in itself. That's exactly how your investments should be treated: valuable, but never defining. Your portfolio should mirror your philosophy, mostly calm, occasionally curious. 80% broad, global, low-cost index funds, diversified, patient, boringly beautiful. And the remaining 20%, that's for skill equity, investing in yourself, your tools, your learning, or small ventures you can afford to lose. Warren Buffett once said, "The best investment you can make is in yourself." Marcus would have agreed. The Stoic investor doesn't chase trends. They build systems that work even while they sleep. Pick one day each year to rebalance the same month every year, and promise yourself no emotional decisions in between. Because rebalancing isn't just financial maintenance. It's a modern meditation on impermanence. Over time, your calmness will outperform other people's chaos. Seneca wrote, "Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity." To the Stoic, a stable income is not about one job, it's about a diversified identity. The world is fragile. Jobs vanish. Algorithms shift. Industries evolve overnight. Your income must become anti-fragile. It should benefit from disorder, not break under it. Start with one primary skill that doubles your value. Add one side project that compounds over time, and nurture one relationship every week that expands your reach. Think of a teacher who begins sharing lessons online, writes a short ebook, builds a small community within 3 years. Her income grows, her freedom expands, and her anxiety fades. That's not luck, that's patient leverage. Ask yourself, what skill do I have that can earn even while I sleep? Then spend 1 quiet hour every Sunday developing it. Marcus Aurelius journaled nightly even as emperor. He wasn't recording numbers, he was recording alignment. And in money, journaling becomes your mirror. Your ledger shows what you did. Your journal reveals who you're becoming. Once a month, review both your financial actions on one page, your emotional reflections on the other. Ask yourself what habits helped my peace this month and what hurt it. A Harvard study found that people who wrote down their financial goals were 42% more likely to achieve them, not because they worked harder, but because they stayed mindful. And each month with 2 questions: what did I control well and what controlled me? Then plan one small adjustment, not 100 resolutions, just one improvement that sticks. Because small awareness always beats big regret. Over time, all of this forms what I call the Stoic balance sheet. Your principles, your cash stack, your portfolio, your income, your reflections, they connect like gears in a quiet, powerful system. It's not a spreadsheet. It's a way of living. History is filled with empires that collapse from excess, too much luxury, too little virtue. Individuals fall the same way. Once a year, run your own audit. List your assets, not just money, but skills, health, reputation, relationships. Then list your liabilities, not just debts, but fears, ego, and emotional impulses. Subtract one from the other. What remains is your true net worth. Money is external. Character is internal. But one always exposes the other. The Stoic money system is about escaping the world. It's about engaging it wisely. To live below your means but above your fears. To earn calmly, spend intentionally, grow quietly. Marcus Aurelius once reminded himself, do not act as if you will live 10,000 years. Death hangs over you. While you live, while it is in your power, be good. Translated for our time, don't wait to be free. Practice it now, one calm financial decision at a time. Because when your money begins to serve your purpose, you no longer serve your money. And that, the Stoics would say, is the highest form of wealth. Act 4. Objections, stoically answered. Every philosophy sounds beautiful until it meets reality, and Stoicism is no exception. When we talk about calm wealth, rational discipline, or emotional freedom, people nod inspired. But then the bills arrive, the markets wobble, and the same old doubts start whispering again. I started too late. Markets scare me. I want to enjoy life now. Each phrase sounds practical, but underneath it's fear speaking. And fear, when examined with reason, becomes wisdom. Seneca once wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." Most people say they've missed their chance, that it's too late to begin. But the Stoic doesn't see lost time, only lost focus. And focus can return today. The best time to start investing may have been 10 years ago, but the second best time is right now. And far more important than timing is clarity. In 2022, Fidelity found something fascinating. The investors with the best returns weren't experts. They were the ones who forgot their accounts even existed. They stayed calm, and they never panicked. That's Stoicism in numbers. Because it's not time that compounds wealth, it's temperament. A 40-year-old who calmly invests $500 a month at 8% can still retire with over $400,000. But a 25-year-old who keeps stopping chasing trends and reacting emotionally usually ends with far less. So stop saying I'm late, start saying I'm clean. You begin now, free of ego, free of past mistakes, with the wisdom to move forward steadily. Seneca advised, begin at once to live and count each day as a separate life. That applies perfectly to money. Begin your financial life anew today. And what about fear? When people say markets scare me, they're really saying, I'm afraid of uncertainty. Epictetus taught men are disturbed not by things, but by the view which they take of them. Fear isn't the enemy. It's a signal information about where we still lack understanding. The Stoic doesn't run from fear, he observes it. When the market drops, fear whispers, do something, but wisdom says, wait. Between 1990 and 2020, the S&P 500 returned almost 10% a year, yet the average investor earned barely half of that. The difference wasn't knowledge, it was emotion. They bought high when excited and sold low when scared. You don't need more spreadsheets. You need more serenity. Marcus Aurelius said, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. So when you see red numbers on a screen, remember it's not the market that's volatile. It's your interpretation of it. Write yourself a bear market script, a promise from your calm self to your future anxious one. Something simple like, when prices drop, I will not sell. I will rebalance. I will continue contributing. Keep it visible. When fear visits, let your calm self answer the door. Courage isn't the absence of fear, it's mastery of reaction. Then there's the most seductive objection of all: I want to enjoy life now. Seneca warned that drunkenness is voluntary madness. He wasn't talking about wine, he meant excess. Pleasure itself isn't the problem. Addiction to it is. Modern culture sells indulgence as freedom. It teaches us to equate consumption with celebration and spending with self-care. But the truth is, most of us aren't buying joy, we're buying distraction. According to the Federal Reserve, more than 60% of Americans carry credit card debt, not because they're poor, but because they're chasing dopamine. Marcus Aurelius, who could afford anything, wrote, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself and your way of thinking." So the question isn't whether you should enjoy life now, it's whether your enjoyment leaves you at peace or in regret. Pleasure fades, peace remains. The Stoic doesn't forbid joy, he filters it. Before spending, pause for one breath and ask, will this bring me peace or just pause my pain? If it truly brings peace, buy it freely. If it doesn't, walk away with gratitude. You just saved twice, once in money and once in mindfulness. Real joy isn't forbidden. It's sacred because it's chosen consciously. Another voice often whispers, I'm just not good with money. But Stoicism rejects that idea completely. Identity isn't fixed, it's trained. Epictetus was born a slave, yet he became a teacher to emperors. If he could master his mind, you can master your money. You're not bad with money, you're simply unpracticed. A 2023 survey found that 70% of financial mistakes come not from ignorance, but from emotion, stress, envy, boredom. That means what you need isn't genius, but calm. Replace the sentence, "I'm bad with money," with "I'm learning to master it." Then build small, steady rituals. Review your spending once a week. Invest automatically every Friday. Reflect for 5 quiet minutes each Sunday. Ask yourself, what emotion guided my choices this week? Small rituals create great reversals. Marcus said, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. So stop labeling yourself. Train yourself. Money is not a mystery, it's a mirror. And then there's the cynic's objection, I don't trust the system. Fair enough. The world is unstable. Economies falter. Governments mismanage. But the Stoic response is never despair its design. You can fix the global system, but you can build personal sovereignty within it. Start small, diversify your income. Keep 6 to 12 months of expenses in cash. Avoid unnecessary debt. Own things that produce, not things that just impress. A Gallup study showed that people with even $500 in savings felt 40% less stress about emergencies. That's not wealth, that's autonomy. Seneca said, he who is brave is free. Financial bravery means simplicity, owning less, needing less, and depending less. Each quarter, remove one dependency, a subscription, a debt, or a habit that drains your time. Because freedom, like interest, compounds quietly. And finally, the deepest fear of all, what if I fail? Marcus Aurelius lived surrounded by war plague, betrayal, and uncertainty. Yet he wrote, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Failure isn't the opposite of success, it's the raw material of it. Every mistake in money can teach you if you let it. A losing trade teaches patience. A moment of overspending teaches restraint. A debt teaches humility. The only true failure is refusing to reflect, so keep a small failure journal. Each time something goes wrong, write what happened, what emotion drove it, and what principle you'll apply next time. When you observe failure, it transforms into feedback. The Stoic doesn't avoid pain, he uses it. Just as the athlete grows through resistance, the wise investor grows through mistakes. Every objection hides a deeper truth. I started late really means I wish I'd been wiser. I fear markets means I need structure. I want joy means I crave meaning. Stoicism doesn't silence those voices, it translates them. It takes fear and turns it into philosophy. It takes confusion and turns it into clarity. Marcus Aurelius wrote, the universe is change. Our life is what our thoughts make it. Markets change, jobs change, fortunes change. but your mindset that's your empire. So when doubt whispers again, remember the Stoic doesn't wait for perfect circumstances. He acts with imperfect confidence. He saves when others spend. He stays calm when others panic. He builds quietly, knowing that wealth is just a reflection of character, because calm is the highest currency and wisdom the ultimate return. Act 5, Marcus's Night Desk, Prompts and Final CTA. Imagine this. It's midnight in Rome. The palace is silent, torches flicker, and the most powerful man in the world, Marcus Aurelius, sits alone at a wooden desk. No audience, no advisors, just parchment ink and his thoughts. He writes not as an emperor, but as a man trying to stay human, to stay calm, to stay free. He doesn't write for praise or legacy. He writes to face himself. 2,000 years later, his words still whisper through time, soft, steady echoes of self-mastery. When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to think, to enjoy, to love. That's the spirit of Stoicism, philosophy, not as theory, but as daily practice. And though money is powerful, it's only one small corner of that daily discipline. So tonight we sit at Marcus's night desk, not in Rome, but in our own quiet rooms, to reflect, to reset, to remember what truly matters. Before screens and scrolls take over, light a candle. Breathe. Sit with your thoughts and your numbers, not as enemies, but as teachers. Ask yourself 3 questions, the same ones Marcus might have asked himself before sleep. What fear did I control today? Maybe it was a bill you faced calmly or a comparison you resisted. Control, not conquest, is victory. What temptation did I decline, and what peace did that buy me? Perhaps you didn't buy what you didn't need, or you ignored that risky hot tip. Every no rooted in wisdom earns quiet interest. And if tomorrow were taken from me, would I be proud of how I used today's money? Not how much I spent, but why. Did my money buy noise, or did it buy time, kindness, and clarity? These are not financial questions. They are moral mirrors. Marcus didn't measure success by gold or glory, but by how little his mind was disturbed by either. Despite commanding an empire, he saw himself as a student of virtue, not a master of wealth. He wrote, "Receive wealth or prosperity without arrogance, and be ready to let it go." Even emperors struggled to release attachment, but Marcus practiced it nightly. He reviewed his day like a Stoic accountant, not of coins, but of conscience. He would ask himself, did money make me act small today? Did I serve ego or purpose? This was his evening examination, a mental inventory of the soul. What we might now call an inner balance sheet. You can try this yourself. Each night, jot down 2 small notes: where I stayed aligned, where I drifted. Then forgive, adjust, and rest. Your growth compounds silently overnight, like interest but deeper. Seneca understood this too. Though he lived in luxury, he practiced simplicity. For a few days each month, he would sleep on the floor, eat plain food, and wear coarse clothing. He would ask himself, is this what I feared? That wasn't poverty, it was preparation. By practicing less, you fear less. And by fearing less, you live more freely. Modern data now echoes this ancient truth. A 2022 study found that people who intentionally simplified their spending reported over a third less stress and nearly half more satisfaction with life, because control feels richer than consumption. Once in a while, try what I call Frugality Week. Cook at home, avoid shopping, step back from comparison. Notice how creativity expands when consumption shrinks. You'll rediscover that real wealth is not possession, it's peace. Marcus reminded himself daily, you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. We spend decades earning, saving, investing, but forget that money is only useful when it buys time used well. A Harvard study found that people who used money to buy time, simplifying chores, declining unnecessary meetings, reclaiming quiet, were far happier than those who spent on luxury. Time is the currency Stoics valued most. So once a week, perform a simple time audit. Ask yourself, what did I buy with my hours? Did my time purchases align with my values? Because if you can afford less stress and more silence, buy that first. As Marcus said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. And gratitude to the Stoics was not a virtue, it was a necessity. Epictetus taught he is a wise man who does not grieve for the things which he has not, but rejoices for those which he has. Modern science agrees. Neuroscientists found that people who list just 3 things they're grateful for each day experience higher optimism and lower anxiety within weeks. Gratitude is interest paid in calmness. It compounds every time you pause to notice. So tonight, write down 3 forms of wealth that don't fit on any balance sheet. Someone who trusts you, health that carries you, time still available to become who you wish to be. Gratitude doesn't kill ambition, it anchors it. It reminds you that you already stand on unseen wealth. Marcus often wrote about death not to mourn it, but to understand life through it. Think of yourself as dead, he said. You have lived your life. Now take what's left and live it properly. It wasn't fatalism, it was focus. The awareness of death brings urgency to virtue. We chase wealth as if it grants immortality, but it doesn't. It can, however, buy meaning if you spend it with intent. At the end of each week, ask yourself, if this were my last, would I be proud of how I spent it? That single question cuts through noise like a blade through fog. Because when you truly remember the end, you begin to live deliberately. And so here you are at the end of this journey through Stoic wealth. You've walked through principles, systems, challenges, and reflections. And if you've listened closely, something subtle has probably shifted. A quiet detachment from the noise. A calm confidence that you can face financial storms without losing your peace. A sense that money is no longer your master, but your instrument. That's what Stoicism offers, a reorientation of power. You stop trying to control outcomes and start mastering your reactions. You realize that calm is not the absence of problems, but the ability to meet them with poise. So as this night draws to a close, write your own Calm Wealth Manifesto. Let it guide you when the world gets loud. Money is a tool, not an identity. You own it, it doesn't own you. Your net worth follows your self-worth. Build the second and the first will rise. Simplicity is strength. Complexity creates confusion. Clarity compounds calm. Wealth is emotional mastery. The richest investor is the one who sleeps well. And you cannot lose what you've learned. Every mistake becomes a teacher when reflected upon. When you live by these truths, wealth stops being a chase and becomes a consequence, a quiet reflection of the person you become. So tonight, as you close your own night desk, remember this philosophy is not about knowing. It's about becoming. And the calmest life, like the strongest portfolio, is built not on prediction, but on principle. Marcus Aurelius would smile at that. Because 2,000 years later, his quiet ink still teaches us the same thing. The truest wealth is a mind at peace. You don't need to rule an empire to live with calm authority. You just need to rule yourself. Money like fire can warm or burn it, depends on how you hold it. If these Stoic principles have helped you see wealth differently, not as a race, but as a rhythm of peace and purpose, then take the next small step. Subscribe to Making Life Better, where we build strength from stillness and freedom from discipline. Share this with one friend who still feels chained to money and leave a comment. Calm Wealth. You'll get a free checklist and journaling guide to turn Stoic wisdom into daily action. Because wealth isn't about more, it's about enough. And next week, we'll go deeper. The discipline dividend. How small habits buy freedom. Stay calm, stay deliberate, stay free.